Good evening all. I welcome you for this interactive session with Professor Devdas Menon, a person who needs no introduction. And then you all people know how his approach towards life is simple and elegant. And now here he is with us just to share how we have to take our lives. Thank you so much, sir. I welcome you. And thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you all for coming. I'm glad we have youngsters here, young faculty also. So this is a talk on self-actualization. And by the end of the talk, I trust all of you will understand what we really mean by self-actualization. Okay, we'll begin with this simple question. We are all basically made of the same stuff. What do we all want in life? Give me some answers. What do you really want in life?
Peace.
Happiness?
Peace.
Peace? Don't repeat. If one person says peace, peace. Satisfaction? Adventure. Wonderful, wonderful, beautiful. From Kashmir, any answers? Don't repeat. Purpose. Okay. Okay, we'll stop there. I have asked this question of hundreds of audiences, different age groups, but the answers are all very unoriginal. They're all the same. Okay? Roughly it's happiness, so I'll just mark it there. So, see, I knew the answer you're going to give. But your answers reveal some things very clearly. What do they reveal? The fact that you gave answers like happiness, satisfaction, peace, adventure, purpose. What do your answers reveal?
What we are lacking.
Yeah. It reveals you are not happy now. You don't have peace now at this age. Usually when you're very old only you will say I want peace, but you're very young and healthy. You don't have a sense of adventure at this young age. You're young, smiling. No purpose now. But your answers are correct. Okay, so you won't say I want a watch because you already have a watch. Say I want happiness because the fact is I am not happy. Well, not most of the time. So that's why it's worth looking at this. But what are we most of the time? We are anything in the spectrum, okay? And that's a nice rainbow spectrum. What we really want, a better word is fulfillment. It covers everything that you said. It's a sense of completeness. In Sanskrit, purnata. That's what we want. Because happiness is all short-lived. Purnata is really a total sense of completeness. Do you all agree we all want that? And whatever answer we give will be a subset of that. All right? But unfortunately, sometimes we come to this end of the spectrum. Despair. And we just heard today, unfortunately, one of our brethren passed away. Took to extreme despair. So when you take to extreme despair and there's nobody to help you or you don't have any faith in people around you, you take your life. Let's hope that never happens. But the fact is, just because we don't commit suicide, it's good, it doesn't come out in the papers, but it doesn't mean we are anywhere superior to the ones who've taken their lives. So if we are living in this end of the spectrum, life is horrible. So this talk, one of the aims of this talk is to discover where we are living in the first place. Do you think we are living to the right end of the spectrum or to the left end of the spectrum? Or we are oscillating No, we are really not oscillating. We'll see that soon. None of you gave this answer. Sometimes we want success, but I put success in the middle of the spectrum. Now tell me, what's the difference between success and fulfillment? What is the difference between success and fulfillment?
Success is society defined.
Success is society defined.
Fulfillment is internally defined.
Fulfillment is internally defined. Beautiful. Very good answer. You passed JEE, everybody clapped. And you also made sure everybody around you knew that you had passed. And even your grandparents will be telling their neighbors, my grandson or granddaughter is now in IIT Madras. It's a big thing. So it has value because everybody gives it importance. In fact, that's why we wrote the JEE in the first place, right? So that is success. You are now at an age where you're going to try for placement. So the higher the pay package, the greater your success. And so on. So success is defined by peer pressure, by others. Success does not guarantee fulfillment. Let's say you became successful. You got through some interview. In fact, that happened many years ago. Some local college, I bumped into someone. He was so happy. He was a civil engineering student, but he got TCS. Even now, people are happy because the pay package was very high. Then I saw next day his face had fallen down. I asked him, what happened? He said, sir, 99 other boys also got TCS. So you have to, few people should get it. Then only the thrill of it is there. You know what we are talking about. So that is success. We all started here, right? Do you remember those days? How wonderful life was. It was Jesus who said, until you are like a little child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. He also said the kingdom of heaven is in you. In other words, fulfillment is in you. So happy. Is he writing JEE exam? No. Do you remember those days you did things like this? Why? Just for the fun of it. Just for the joy of it. Right? And that gives you fulfillment. That gives you happiness. Now look at this. This is our story. Okay? I am probably approaching this stage. Once upon a time I was like that. You guys are somewhere here. Okay? Here. All of us will reach here one day. And the story of our life is revealed not by the last day, but every day of our lives, right? That's a story. Are we living fulfilled lives? Or are we living mediocre lives? So I brought in another word called mediocre. Old man, look at his face here. Just look at it. Kathakali artist, maestro, even at the age of 90, every day he lives joyfully. You can't live like that at that age unless you've lived like that throughout. What is that secret? Should we not learn? This talk is all about that. So that we not only live like that, hopefully at that age, we live like that today. Because if we don't live like that, we might end up like this. He used to work in our lab. No, I'm not saying structural engineering lab, right? Before he retired from service. Okay? Could be a faculty, could be a student, could be a project staff, could be lab staff, could be any employee in any organization. You lived a mediocre life. What is mediocre life? Every day you get up in the morning, then you say, groan and say, look, I've got to go to work. Then you do what needs to be done. What needs to be done? Routine things, exactly what we do every day. Then we are waiting for, we're looking at the watch all the time. Then you want to go home and then you switch on the TV or whatever you do in the hostels. And then you celebrate maybe, and then you go to sleep. And then next day the whole thing. Every day rotates like this. Sounds familiar? Very repetitive, very routine. Definitely not fulfillment, not even success, but somewhere there. That's how it is for the vast majority of us. Do you agree? Very unhealthy way to live compared to what we are capable of living. So there's a nice story in a book called Stop Sleepwalking Through Life, which came out in 2004. This story is described as explained by Anthony de Mello. Once upon a time, there was a bunch of eggs and a hen was sitting over them, waiting for them to hatch. One of those eggs was not belonging to the species of chicken. It was actually the egg of an eagle. So that egg hatched and you got this funny looking chicken out there, and everybody looked at it and saw it was funny, but it grew up along with its brothers and sisters, chickens, and did exactly what all other chicken did. What do? They try to jump up a little bit in the air, flap their wings, great struggle to stay in the air. Then you peck the earth for worms. Simple life, routine life. Maybe it gives some of them fulfillment, I don't know. You have to be a chicken to discover that. So this little eaglet grew up like that. And one day it was looking up in the sky and it saw a giant, beautiful bird way up, gliding, not even flapping the wings, circling over large distances at a great height. I said, look at that. What is that? It asked. There was this hen, this old mother hen, who said, that is the great eagle, the king of all the birds. The eagle lives in the mountain tops. We chicken, we hens, we live on earth. This is our fate. So this eaglet chicken also heard of that, believed it, and lived and died as a chicken. Didn't fly up. What this points to is the fact that we all have tremendous potential, like that eagle. But for some reason, let's not blame anybody or anything, it is not getting actualized. So self-actualization, in one word, is to discover that potential and to manifest it. Does it make sense? Right. So it's a tragedy if you are an eagle and you live like a chicken. Now this is everybody's story, everywhere in the world. So Henry David Thoreau, have any of you heard of Thoreau? You read books only on engineering, is it? You should read. What's the most famous work of Thoreau? He's an American writer, poet. It's a book called Walden. Okay. He lived alone in a forest and wrote this book. His favorite readings were books on the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. Very strange to know such a person. Great man. What did he say? He said, the mass of men, of course he included women also, lead lives of quiet desperation. Look at the choice of words. Quiet desperation. he may be talking about any of us, right? We are also living lives like this. This is not fulfillment. So let's talk about what everybody talks of. So we live very stressful lives. So we'll talk of stress, emotion, and physiology. All of us want to perform well in life, right? That is fulfillment. We don't want to be in despair. When we say perform, perform in all domains. Perform well in all the roles we have to play in life. Okay, could be a student, could be a parent, could be an employee, could be an employer, could be a servant, could be anything. You want to perform well at home, you want to perform well at work, and you want to perform well at all other times. Yes or no? That's what fulfillment is. That's the x-axis. Okay, let's say 0 in the middle and plus infinity there, minus infinity there. The y-axis, what do you think is on the y-axis? The y-axis is the time of the day where you are expected to perform well. Let's take workplace. So working hours, usually daytime. So you have high energy, you are highly aroused, and you go home or go to your hostel, you take rest, you are supposed to relax and enjoy that part of your day also, right? You're not supposed to just enjoy the working part, also the relaxing part. There is something in our system which actually helps govern this. It's called ANS. What is ANS? Anybody? Something to do with our nervous system. You heard this? Autonomic nervous system. It's there in the biological system in every one of us. When it is switched on, it is said to be sympathetic. When it is relatively switched off, it is said to be parasympathetic. So, for example, when you go to sleep, it's switched off, parasympathetic. And when you are awake and active, like right now, I hope you're not sleeping, it is sympathetic. If you're on the green side, it is working very well. It's balanced, it's functioning. But sometimes we slip to the red side. If it's on the red side, we are really stressed. We are oversympathetic, hyperactive. That's when we say we are stressed. Okay? And they say today's lifestyle makes all of us overstressed. And when you come home and try to take rest, you are not able to take rest. You find many of us are not able to sleep. As you grow older, you need to pop some pills to go to sleep. So, your system is switched on when it should be switched off. So, you have the sympathetic bias, and you're not able to take rest. This is not a healthy way to live life. This is the modern challenge, okay, for all of us, all over the world. It is like you buy a new computer, everything is fine, the hard disk works very fast, but then after some time, everything becomes slow. You are not able to reboot the system. And we are told that there are a lot of programs running in the back which you don't even know, which you can't switch off, right? And when there's a crisis and you really want to solve something, the damn thing starts hanging. That's the problem. When we are not able to get a fresh, hard, working hard disk, you have these problems. Let's look at some real life examples. What are some examples of what happens when you are really enjoying life? One, you will see it in the face. In children, you see it. There's an acceleration. A teacher should have that for the students not to go to sleep. There is passion of a healthy kind. There is joy. there is love. When we talk of love, it's not just love between human beings. It's loving the work that you're doing, whatever be the work. There is a sense of care. There is kindness. There is appreciation. There is a sense of harmony, and you appreciate beauty. Now, these are just words, but they can have a lot of depth and intensity. So that's why it can stretch from 0 to plus infinity. On the other hand, if you're on the red side of the spectrum, there is this sense of frustration. You tend to be angry. You have hostility. You have grievances against certain people. You have fear. You're always worried. You have anxiety. Very common. You feel guilty about things that you should be doing but you're not able to do. You feel overwhelmed. Probably that suicide can be attributed to this. You can't handle it. You feel resentful. And you're always passing judgment on everybody and everything in sight. Again, you can stretch from 0 to minus infinity. Unhealthy. Now, when you're in this state of mind, it's very difficult to switch to the green state when you need to take rest. You will continue and it's not going to be good because you feel a sense of hopelessness. That's how you go to sleep. You feel a sense of despair, get into depression. You feel burnt out. That's why even young people sometimes lose their gas, the petrol that drives them. You have a sense of fatigue. You feel withdrawn. You feel bored with life. And you feel apathy. What is apathy? Apathy is you want to cut yourself off from everybody. You want to shut the door and hopefully you won't commit suicide. But then sometimes you will do that also. This is a horrible state to be in and people need help here. And it's your responsibility to look out, to see if anybody is slipping into that state and to get help. So such people don't want any help because they don't trust anybody. But it's our moral obligation to reach out and help. But if you're on the green side, and even students can be on the green side, when you go home, because you had a fulfilling day, you carry that home. You can play with the children because that joy is still there in you. You have inner peace. You have equanimity. Something terrible happens, you can handle it. You have a sense of acceptance. You accept people as they are. Sometimes people can be horrible, okay, especially in the Indian situation when you have to live in a joint family, especially if you're newly married, a girl, you know how difficult things can be. I'm not getting into details, but it's a challenge. But if you're mature and you're evolved, you can handle that situation also. So, and even if someone said something nasty to you, you have the ability to forgive and move on and not store it in your mind and then build on that. Where do you learn those skills? We guys teach you reinforced concrete design, finite element analysis. We don't teach you this, but don't you think this is the most important thing you need, all of us need in life? Yes or no? So it's not in the curriculum and you don't get to see much of it. And it's so important to understand this. Okay. Then you need to have a sense of, so you get time for serenity, for reflection, and for basically being contented with whatever you have. How beautiful it is to live like this. Now, all this is usually visible to anybody. People around you will know it, but you should know where you are in this spectrum. And that is what we call self-awareness. You need to be aware of what the hell is happening to you. Most of us don't even have self-awareness. Sometimes we have to go to a doctor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and they take a blood sample and they check whether cortisol is an indicator your stress level is high. DHA is another hormone in the blood which shows you're in good shape because you get peak experiences. Now I want to ask you this question. So here you feel a lot of negative emotions, clearly on the red side, here on the green side. Most people you have met in your life, are they on the green side or the red side? Green side? How much in the green? Middle of the green means, are you sure? How many of you say you're on the green? How many, let's have a show of hands. How many say most people you meet are on the green side? 1, 2, 3. How many say most people are on the red side? Honest truth. You are wearing a red shirt but you're on the green side. The guy next to you is wearing a green shirt but he's on the red side. Alright. I'm happy for you. It's possible. We cannot say what he's experiencing is not true, but this is the alarming majority. And again, I've asked hundreds of audiences, overwhelmingly. I'm talking of mature people. They all say we are mostly on the red side. So, the question you should ask as a human being is, why are we not on the green side? That too, not in the middle, at the other end. That's our real potential. Why are we not there and why are we here? What is it that we must be doing unconsciously to put us on the red side? What do you need to nurture so that you're on the green side? Does it make sense? That's what this talk is all about. Now we are where we are because we are doing something every day to put us there, right? So let's listen to a little young boy. Now this is somebody sent a WhatsApp video link a few days back. I liked it. I thought you guys also should listen to him. Listen to what he says.
So my question to you today is, what do you practice every day? What do you practice? Because what you practice, you will get good at. What do you practice? Do you practice joy in your life? Do you practice peace in your life? Do you practice happiness in your life? Or do you practice a lot of complaining? Because if you complain, you will get very good at it. And you will get so good at it that you will find fault with everything. Even when there's no fault that a layman cannot see, you, being an expert, will see it. What do you practice? Do you practice anger? Because if you practice anger, you will get very good at it. And you will get so good at it that the most trivial you'll think. Trivial thing will make you angry. Like sitting in an airplane and watching the sea across from you somehow looks better than the one you've been given. And that is so unfair of the airlines. What do you practice? Do you practice being worried? Because if you practice being worried, you will get very good at it. And you will get so good at it that everything will worry you, including the buffalo you don't have. So I propose, if this is true that it's a question of practice, then I propose you practice joy.
Isn't there some truth in what that boy is? He's obviously reading it out, but everything he says is so true. So we are what we are right now because we are unconsciously perhaps practicing something. And we've become very good at it. And the older we grow, we become more expert at it. And it sticks to us. We are lucky that the audience here is very young. You can make the correction at this age. When you're too old, you just can't, you won't even know what's going on and you think you're right. So, for the limited context of this talk, let's practice excellence in all domains. Let's not practice mediocrity. So, if vast majority is living mediocre lives, it's because we are practicing it. So, this is a story I love to narrate, and many of you may have heard it. But this Taj Mahal was, one of the great wonders of the world. Really, fantastic structure, beautiful, made out of marble. The story goes that there was someone who wanted to see the construction while it was being constructed, and he was walking down the road. So there were laborers cutting the stone and building and getting ready for the construction. So he just casually asked, "What are you doing?" The guy, being a normal worker, first he looks up to see, is this some senior official who's going to cut my pay or something? He is some useless fellow out there. So he says, "Can't you see? I'm cutting stone." He spoke the truth. So then he saw that almost everybody is cutting stone like that. Till he chanced upon someone who he watched him. It was completely different, the way he was cutting the stone. This man would take a stone, look up as though reflecting something. Then when he brings the chisel to break the stone, it breaks neatly into two pieces. He gently puts one down. Look at, so gently puts it on the ground, doesn't throw it. And then holds it up again, looks up, and he's satisfied. He puts that down. At that time, I asked, because I'm impressed, there's a radiance in this guy, which I have not seen in the others. Same question, "What are you doing?" And he gives an answer which is mind-blowing. He says, "I'm building the Taj Mahal." So same actions we do every day, but we do because it has to be done. Someone asked us to do it, write some assignment, scribble some notes. Okay. One of you said what you really want is purpose. There's no purpose here. Maybe short-term purpose. I somehow have to get my degree and get the hell out of here. But here there's a vision. It's not purpose, there's a vision. How many of us have a vision to which we wake up every day in the morning? Do we practice discovering a vision and living that vision? Or we just do mechanically whatever is done, It's a half-hearted way of doing everything, including eating the food. You're not even recognizing what you're eating. Something, the hand goes here and you're looking at some TV or you're watching some WhatsApp thing, and sometimes it doesn't go to the right place also, and you don't taste, you don't acknowledge that your mother has prepared that so lovingly in your tiffin, or your wife has done that. So much of love and care has gone into making that food. So many people are responsible for bringing that food to your plate. The sun, the earth, the rain, everything has participated in Kabir used to say, "Dane dane pe likha hai khane wale ka naam." There's a sense of gratitude. There's a sense of invoking the totality when you do a simple act like that. Or any act. Let's say, just picking up a phone. You can do it with care. Feel the texture. Because you're not in a hurry. Your main job in life is what? Tell me, what is our main job in life? What is the main job in life? Moral of the story so far. Main job in life is to be fulfilled. Every moment we live life, we reveal where we are in that spectrum. There's no hurry. Aaram se. Enjoy. Is it possible? You can't do it at 93. You can do it only now. So there's a big difference between running around, rushing, or getting bored, always moving to the future or thinking of the past, never enjoying the only reality that is available right now. And that's where we don't have peace, we don't have happiness, we don't have satisfaction. Can't you see? It's so obvious. Look at that child. Got the fundas right from day one, but lost the fundas the day you went to school. Because then you're all put in a uniform, is forced to sit in a stupid chair and listen to a stupid lecture for 1 hour, and then you're trained to be stupid. It's not a healthy way to live. And even if that's how you've been brought out, you can break it and come out of it at some point in time. You need help. So there's a big difference between being unhappy most of the time and struggling to do work in order to get your pay packet or whatever, or your award, and then getting happiness for a short time when you get what you're struggling hard for. The other is you're already happy. Look at this. You're already happy and you're expressing that happiness in everything that you do, and you're doing it responsibly. If you have to assert, you will assert. That is a sign of self-actualization. So we all go through this, okay? Sometimes, you sit in some stupid lecture, you're not interested, it's taught in such a bad way. It's a punishment to sit in the class. I'll share with you, some incidents so you can relate to this. There have been courses like that when I was a student here. 1975 to 80, I was here. When I went to IIT Delhi, I was in Delhi, so I did a part-time MTech at IIT. I got silly scores which didn't make any sense. CGPA of 10.00. It didn't make any sense to me because we had absolute grading here and you were lucky to cross 80%. There, liberally, you can get a grade. And there was a course we took called Structural Dynamics. You're all structural. The teacher was tough. I got jaundice, so I couldn't attend most of the classes. And he gave the highest grade only to this guy who did not attend any classes. So the students, my classmates, came and told me that because you didn't attend, you got this grade. So sometimes you have to learn on your own. In fact, all the time you should learn on your own. The teacher is just an add-on. And you have to be grateful to even bad teachers, because bad teachers force you to learn on your own. Good teachers are actually harmed sometimes because, they don't, they tell you everything, they answer all the questions before you even raise them. Sometimes good books are also not good. Okay. So it's your owner. So this is true. Life is lifeless, one feels apathetic and empty. If all your courses, if everything you do during the day is largely this, life is horrible. You should get out of the place before you commit suicide. Find something interesting to do, because we all have something interesting to do. The next is the common thing that all these pay packages you're running after, the corporate world is driven by this. It's called the carrot and stick approach. We are like donkeys. They show this carrot, so many lakhs per annum with increments so on, and you go after it because you want that carrot. In case you don't, then there's a stick. You get whacked. So this is desire driven. Here you may not succeed also, so it's horrible. You get the stick more than you get the carrot. So life is terrible, one feels frustrated and defeated. Right? Your CGPA is low, everything is low. You're not getting placement. Life is like that sometimes. But supposing you're getting what you want, then you're on the green side, life becomes exciting. Okay, you got that pay package. We get what we want after much struggle. We feel victorious and enthused. Okay, this is how the world runs. Now the carrot and stick does not work for a few people. For the self-actualized people, this carrot and stick won't work. You can't bribe them. They will do what they want to do, what they know is right, and they'll do it wonderfully and effortlessly. So you talk of motivation at the lower levels, but there you use a word called inspiration. You heard that old saying, no? The bad teacher complains. The good teacher explains. We need good teachers. But the inspired teacher, the master teacher, inspires. Inspiration is what will give you fulfillment. Okay? It is something personal. You have to feel it inside. And it can lift your spirits beautifully. Life is wonderful, effortless, one feels peace, joy and fulfillment. All the things that you said are missing in your life is because of this. There's no inspiration in your life. You won't say you want it because you know there's only one place to get it. You won't get it outside. You must know the secret pathway to this. So I bring back that boy's question. Every day, what do you practice? Do you practice no motivation, desire-driven failure, desire-driven success, or inspired living? My recommendation to all of you is find the way to live, practice living, inspired living. The rest is all mediocrity. That is self-actualization. If you talk of potential, all of us, let's say, have 100% potential. How many of us realize even 50% of that potential? Most people don't. 25%. Again, not very common. So imagine if you realize 75%. 100% may be too much. Life will be blissful. That's the challenge for us. Each one of us has to find our way. What is the difference between motivation and inspiration? I've already given a clue. Anyone? Speak loud. Motivation? Motivation may fade away after some time. See, the vision, the Taj Mahal won't fade away until the Taj Mahal is actually built. And when the Taj Mahal is built, another Taj Mahal will pop up in your life. Because you are inspired, you are driven, you have that Shakti which is driving you. It won't fade away. You're right. That's one answer. Anybody else? Anybody else? Well, I'm quoting Wayne Dwyer. He says this very well. Motivation is when you get hold of an idea and carry it through to its conclusion. This is good. This is what everybody wants, motivational speakers, so that you do what the company wants you to do. But inspiration is when an idea gets hold of you, ulta. You don't get a hold of an idea gets hold of you and carries you where you are intended to go. Look at this. So you are not the doer. There is, I would say, a divine Shakti which will do everything. You are just the instrument and you will do it extremely well. Motivation is linked to what you think you should be doing due to peer pressure, societal expectations or obligations, because others said it's important and you believed it. So you push yourself seeking success. Someone once said this. Life is too hard to do things that somebody else said is important. Now you tell me, look at your own life and see, is it really something that you found? Because if you found it truly to be important, there'll be a resonance inside. So many of our BTech students, they really are not interested in engineering. You don't have the courage to step out and say, pursue music or play cricket or be an artist. Okay. Your parents will also not like that, because let's say you like poetry. Say, no, you like journalism. There's no guarantee you will get money in that. Money is the main decider. And they are right. So my suggestion is, it is true we need money, because that gives you freedom. So, but at some stage in your life, you must figure out what is your swadharma. When will that happen? The earlier the better. Inspiration is about being called upon to do something from the core of your inner being, something you are actually drawn to, the doing and unfolding process can feel effortless, joyous, and fulfilling. You get into a flow state. I'm sure all of us have experienced a flow state. In a flow state, there's no you. The speaker and the audience are one. The guys kicking the ball around in World Cup final and the guys watching are all one. Everything is flowing beautifully, naturally, aesthetically. So, self-actualized people experience this flow state very often. Now, Stephen Covey, who's an expert in this area, he's written many books, he's done a lot of research. First famous book he wrote is called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Then after 20, 30 years of research, he came up with this book called The 8th Habit. He said, fulfilled people are very rare. And he said, there are 4 qualities I find that they possess. So let's look at those qualities. First quality he said is, they all have a vision, their own vision, a personal vision. So I'm showing this Taj Mahal there. They all have a vision and they are disciplined. Discipline is a bad word for students because, your parents are forcing you to do things that you don't want to do or your teachers are forcing you to do it. But if you're an A.R. Rahman, you will do sadhana because you want to do it. Right? How much Kohli has to practice every day? Is someone forcing him to do it? No. In fact, you feel bad if you go for a run every day. You feel bad the day you are not able to go for a run. Have you felt that? So it's your own, it's self-discipline. That's the beauty of this. These people have their own discipline. Can you guess the 2 other qualities? You need a vision, you need your own discipline, and that's how you keep the body fit. You need to keep the mind fit. You need to keep your spirit fit. So what is the next quality? Anybody? Don't you think that discussions like this are absolutely essential in your education? Joy will come, even from discipline you get joy, no? You go for a walk every day. Do you do that? So what do you see when you go for a walk? Positive thoughts. Don't think. I don't know how many of you have seen this. I come early in the morning. I just go for a long walk. Nobody will be there. I'll go to I used to play hockey when I was a student here. I used to go to a hockey football ground. Nobody will be there. Whoever you meet on the road is walking very fast to catch the class. Nobody is there except the black buck. It's beautiful. Everything is green. The sky is blue. There are clouds. You can see the biotech buildings. The buildings also look good. Beautiful. Beautiful trees. There's a nice breeze in the air. Caressing your face. And you just walk. Breathe in the fresh air. You're like the child. You're not thinking how to solve a differential equation or whatever. Sometimes yes, but not most of the time. Now tell me, how much does it cost to experience that? It's free. In this beautiful campus, it's free. The deer come close to you, they look at you curiously, but now they recognize you because every day you see them. You even know them. You even given names for them. One little fellow likes to keep jumping. But you don't disturb anybody. You're one with nature. You are already fulfilled. You don't need to submit your PhD thesis. I mean, you can do that. But are you able to understand what I'm saying? There is a natural joy in life freely available for all of us in the present. That's why it's called a present. It's a gift. So, strong recommendation to all of you. Simple recommendation. Please enjoy life. Okay? Practice enjoying life. Don't be always thinking. Okay? And then when you're enjoying life, you'll find something in you is waiting to manifest. Some domain, Swadharma. Swadharma means your own dharma, not common dharma. Your own dharma is waiting to manifest. And it keeps you excited. It keeps you going. It's part of your vision. You need that. And then something deep inside you, it's something truly spiritual, will ensure that the vision you have won't be a Hitler-like vision. It will be a noble vision. Classic example is someone like Abdul Kalam. Can you see that every day he lived that vision? He lived an inspired life. Whoever he met, he inspired, whether they were willing or not. Can we live a life like that? Okay, so the different parts of your being that can be enabled. Then you will be a creative force in the world. It could be in your small locality, it could be in the country, it could be in the world. Creative force. Whatever you do will have an impact. This is real impact, not the silly impact factor of some journal which nobody reads. Real impact. You will find your voice, your Shruti, unique to you. Nobody else that has that voice. See, our real problem is we have not found our voice. Unique to you, to each one of us. You will find your voice, you will inspire. Now that you've tasted the fulfillment, you would want everybody to have that. Okay, there are new books, okay. Just show them one book which just came today, okay. So a book called The Awakening of Shvetaketu. So that is the voice of a rishi, which is found expression through writing, okay. The book was written in 2 months. It will just come out. You can't stop it. I'm giving you a live example of what is possible to any one of us. Okay, so noble, this makes it noble. You will inspire others to find their voice. You become a whole person. Whole person means you're full. You find fulfillment. Okay, this is work done by Stephen Covey. You have integrity. What is integrity? Integrity is whatever you think, whatever you say, whatever you do, the misalignment between these three things will be minimal. And if someone points out to you, look, the other day you said this, but today you're doing this, you will accept it gracefully. Your whole project in life is to minimize the misalignment between thought, word and deed. That is integrity. And it is going to be authentic and genuine. You will be inspired and you will transmit that inspiration to everybody around you. Then Covey said that, he did this study worldwide. And he said, I've said all good things, but the reality is what? Despite all our progress and technological development, most people are not thriving in the organizations they work for. More people are living on the red side, not on the green side. What you observed was correct. They are neither fulfilled nor excited. They are frustrated. That's a strong word. They have no clear vision to wake up to every day in the morning. They are bogged down and distracted. So many things are there. And worse, they don't feel they can improve much. So after a certain age, you give up. I just continue. Chalta hai. This is mediocrity. Do you agree? This is because of lack of inspiration. It is enough for one leader to inspire. If you take, I've heard of Metro Man Sridharan's staff. So Delhi Metro, when it was going on, all the workers, employees, assistants, engineers used to swear by the fact that every day they get inspired just by looking at him. And he will do things that nobody else can do. In a typical government system, you have to tender, you have to offer to the lowest tender. He said no. Before he took up the job, he made it very clear. He said, I want the best anywhere in the world. And I want us to learn from that. So, I will decide who the job will go to. You guys don't interfere. And it will not go to the lowest tender. The government, because he had earlier done his projects, what was the famous railway line that he did? Not Pamban Bridge, the Konkan Railway, he had already established himself. But more than that, he was a very spiritual person. So, you need that. You need to harness into that. You can't do anything wrong. It is adharma. Everybody knew. So, each one of you has the potential to be a leader like that. And you saw this quote earlier. This is a Westerner talking about the Western world. So, what went wrong? Let's take a look. The first sign that things are going wrong is revealed by you when you start complaining, as that boy said. You play the victim. Here itself, you say, what is this IIT? I thought it was a paradise. Look at this. There's no water in the tap. The internet connectivity is not all that good. These fellows put a lot of restrictions. Hostel food is horrible. Then the teachers, you guys are very polite, you don't say that. But BTech students say it. When I was a student here, I was shocked. We learned physics, chemistry, math first years. The kind of teachers we had in school were kind of geniuses. Yeah. They were really inspiring. First maths class, you go here, you'll say, what the hell is he saying? Very dryly. We had a book called Piskunov, Integral Calculus. I still have 2 copies of it. 6 rupees 50 paise. Mere publishers. Then we realized, we learn on our own. And so, you can be a great researcher, but you can be a horrible teacher. You have to inspire. You don't have to teach too much. You have to help students learn. I'm not finding fault with any particular teacher, but you have the spectrum all over the world, not just here. And this is better than other colleges. So, play victim. Library is not good, this is not good, that is not good. Because you have to somehow justify why you got a D grade in your course. And who cares for discipline? Yeah, enjoy life. This is the lower kind of enjoyment. And you start indulging. Everybody is like that, yeah. So you reflect what everybody is doing. It's a social mirror. And then forget the soul, it's all buried. It's your ego which will take charge of your life. And instead of finding your voice, you will just do what everybody else is doing. You reflect the source, the cultural software that gets programmed, You lose your voice. You had a chance of finding it, now that project is over. Once you've lost the voice, you think you will inspire the others to find their voice, you will conspire to make sure nobody finds his or her voice. And you have no chance of being a whole person, you become a fragmented person. This is the vast majority. And you will show a lack of integrity. Steve Jobs said this, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Very simple, beautiful lines. Now I'll come to Indian wisdom to show you that there is a link. Our rishis said all of us do things because of 4 reasons, 4 purposes of life. Meaning in life, purpose in life, the word is artha. Purushartha is human purpose. 4 purposes in life. They are very generic, okay, meant for all humanity. The most common is kama. Kama means what? Have fun, da. Right? Have your samosa, have your tea, and then you can go. Have fun. Now, having fun is not bad. It is prescribed. Right? But there are different levels of fun that you can have. Number two, so sensory pleasures, enjoyment. But sometimes you need money to buy your cell phone, no? So you need money also. So you need artha. Artha covers all material benefits, including your PhD, MS, MTech, BTech degree, including your professorship, chair professorship, directorship, whatever ship you want. Wealth, learning, your paper, this is our wealth, no? We like to show, see, this is my H index is so much, okay, impact factor is so much, this. Success, fame, power. That's all artha. Gives you meaning, gives you a kick, but then it's for you to stand up above other people. And often when we run after kama and artha, you compromise on what? The third major objective of life. What is this? What do you compromise on if you run after these? Dharma, morality, integrity, service, altruism. When you go to dharma level, you actually change from taking from your other people and grabbing for yourself or your family to giving. You get joy in giving. So it's a complete change. And you won't do anything that is against your conscience. These are all universal things we are talking about. Nothing particular about any institution. It's a worldwide phenomenon. So, in positive psychology, they use words for this. If your center of gravity is at kama, you're living a pleasant life. Happy-go-lucky fellow. Okay, I'm happy. Okay, some good movie is playing, I'll rush there. If some good new restaurant is coming, I'll rush there. If there's some bar, I'll go there. Fun. Have fun. Okay? Pleasant life. Pleasant life is not as good as doing something more. For example, watching people play cricket is different from playing cricket yourself. The thrill of bowling or batting is when you actually play with your hands, right? You may not be playing for the Indian team, but at your level you're playing and enjoying. So that when you actually start doing on your own is when you start living the good life. Okay, you're earning your own money. You're not taking from anybody. It's very good. So it's very important to move to the good life. That's a name given in positive psychology. But if you can go to, and your center of gravity goes to giving, then life becomes more meaningful. So then you have a vision. Okay, you want to serve society. And today, in all religions, that is recommended. But usually the limit is, that's the ceiling. We don't see beyond that. When you live that life, you have achieved self-actualization. But you will not get fulfillment. You will find that people who've lived this also find something is missing in life. In fact, all the Upanishads begin with the student asking, even after following dharma, I find that people are not fulfilled. Something is missing. What is missing? Well, firstly, the happiness that you get at these levels depend on what? They depend on circumstances, on the world, on objects. And the happiness you get is not long lasting. So, in one of the Upanishads, I've written a book called The Awakening of Nachiketa. You may have heard. It's based on the Kathopanishad. It's clearly said that there are two ways of living. One is this way, which is called the path of prayas, which is okay. Especially if you follow dharma, prayas is also right. But it's not going to give you the ultimate freedom, which we all want. And you get stuck in the world, you get entangled in the world, and that is called samsara. The real happiness is within you. This is a Doha by Kabir Das. You heard of Kabir? Kasturi Kundal Basen. Kasturi is a scent, a fragrance which you can buy. It is extracted from the intestine of a species of deer. In Tamil you say Kasturi Man, special species of deer. Now in the poet's imagination, the deer can smell this fragrance. Kasturi Kundal Base Mrig Dundhe Vanamahi. The deer thinks that happiness, that fragrance is coming from outside, from that shopping mall, from this great IIT, from this great teacher, from this research, from going to the US. You understand? ऐसे घट घट राम है. Ram here means happiness, fulfillment. Dunya dekhe nahi. Likewise, the true happiness is already there in us, but we are searching for it outside everywhere. So this is the major change that happens. And so the fourth Purushartha meant, I'm not asking you to go to that. Our topic is self-actualization. But post self-actualization, liberation is there, salvation is there. This is called the path of Shreyas. So that life, you could say, is a spiritual life. And then if you continue to live in the world like the rishis did, okay, by the way, these books are talking about that, then life becomes really fulfilling. Because you're serving humanity, you're not running away and hiding yourself in some cave. Is it possible? It is possible for every one of us. Okay, so if you are in the teaching profession, in the olden days we used to say they were in charge of teaching. The guru literally meant the dispeller of darkness, not the darkness of finite element analysis, but the very purpose of living, removing avidya. That was the job of the guru or the rishi. Where are the rishis now? Gone. Today what do we have? Even for selection we look at how many papers you published. Teacher. So it's reduced to a caricature of the guru rishi, the teacher academic, and we are following a Western tradition. Just to show you that it's still possible to live this kind of life. Now we come to the main topic. There was a psychologist called Abraham Maslow. In the University of Wisconsin, he decided to do a PhD. And he didn't want to do what other psychologists before him did. Other psychologists were looking at people who were sick, who were neurotic, who were psychotic. He said, no, I want to look at the healthiest people in society because they should be our role models in education. And he came up with what he called a hierarchy of needs. All of us have basic needs. Okay? Physiological needs and needs of the body. Okay? Animals have those needs, we also have those needs. Okay? The body needs, hunger, food, warmth, even sex. Then security needs, okay? You need, roti, kapda will go there, but makan will come to security needs. You need money. You need to take care of your family. Very genuine need, all of us have. Animals don't worry about it because somehow they know that they'll be taken care of. But we know we won't be taken care of because we've been given the ability to think and have willpower and all that. So we have to take care of ourselves. So good. Then the next need is, we need to share our lives with other people. We need to feel love and be loved. Okay, belongingness. You are all part of the IIT fraternity. You're going to flaunt that wherever you go because that will give you aukat. You know what aukat is? There's a nice book by Pavan Verma. It's called Being Indian. He said that when two Indians travel in a train, typically, they're a little uncomfortable till they can locate the other person somewhere. So they begin a conversation, what are you doing, where are you from, like that. And let's say you are traveling and there's some other young student there. You're waiting for him to ask, where are you from? You say, I'm IIT Madras. NIRF 1, finished. Your aukat is established, he won't ask any more questions. He doesn't know that you got a U grade in your... We play this game, right? Everywhere we play this game. Okay, so then we want esteem. Even after this, all of us want fame. Is it not? Now, Maslow said there are two kinds of fame. One is when you're dependent on other people's certification for your fame. But for self-actualized people, they don't need this. They have their own self-confidence. They know what is in them. They become fully individuated. So they don't need your approval. They'll just do what is right because that's giving them fulfillment. It is then, so that's a threshold. He says, if you have not crossed this line, all of us have deficiency needs. We will remain in mediocrity. Deficiency means some lack is there. It's always crying for food. Give me this, give me that. But once you've crossed this, like the child, you seek knowledge for the sake of knowledge, not because you want marks or you want papers. You really have genuine curiosity. And you'll express yourself aesthetically in art, all kinds of art forms, because the poetry has to come out of you, the painting has to come out of you, the book has to come out of you. And that's when Maslow said you become self-actualized. You have realized the potential inherent in you. Does it make sense? You are not driven by deficiency need, but there is something inside you deeper. He called it growth needs or being needs. Then he said, in every society you have people at different levels. Mostly people are stuck at this conventional level. They understand pre-conventional. The children, for example, they have to be put to school, they have to learn table manners, they must know. So we train them and want them to become good conventional people. But then we don't know what's beyond this. Because self-actualized people we've not seen, and they are strange species. They behave in unconventional ways. And when you see something unconventional, you think that sometimes it could be pre-conventional. So the sage sometimes acts like a child. But there's a huge difference between the child and the sage. The child does not understand why mother and father are fighting every day. The child doesn't know what it means to grow a beard. Child doesn't know what sex means. But the sage has gone through all this and knows and feels compassion at all levels. So, post self-actualization, your levels of happiness are not 2 times, 3 times, 4 times what mediocre people feel. They are 1,000 times, 10,000 times, 1,000,000 times. You can't even measure. So it's a sense of transcendental maturity which enables people to learn, to live, to love, to relate and to play in far more fulfilling ways than the so-called conventional. Maslow in his study discovered something else. He covered all age groups. Then he found that there were young people sitting here in this audience, 1 or 2, who had signs of self-actualization. And you can be 90 years old and still be operating with deficiency. So you show these signs very early. Okay? Your teachers may not understand you, except a few, and they want to encourage you. But you will face a lot of uphill tasks because you are not necessarily following the metrics that are demanded by society. You have your own metrics. Here you are dependent on somebody else declaring the results. Their living life itself is self-rewarding. So when you grow horizontally, that's a path of praise. You want to add more. See, you're all going to be rich. You're all IIT. What do you do with your money? Will you give it to society? No way. You will find where to invest it. You'll buy a flat in Chennai, then you'll buy a flat in where? Hyderabad, in Dubai, in Chicago, wherever you can. That's how we think. Is it going to help you? No, you're just adding more zeros to your bank balance. The zeros are all zero. Okay? Till one Hindenburg report comes and punctures your balloon, then everything is gone. Okay, so somewhere where you turn this, you should know where it's turning. You'll find need is becoming greed. You need to correct yourself. And that's where the Upanishad said, the earlier you correct, the better. That's a path of praise, and then you actually go beyond self-actualization. And here you have scarcity, there you have a sense of abundance. Abundance is not something we acquire, it's something you tune into, and you can do it at this age. Then Maslow said, beyond this, there is something, I don't know what it is. I know there are rishis in India who've discovered it. He actually traveled all the way to India. He called it meta needs. Okay? They're actually spiritual needs. And when you discovered that, in India we called it self-realization. So there's a difference between self-actualization and self-realization. Now, the big complaint we hear from faculty everywhere throughout the country is so many people come here with good grades, study engineering, do well, but hardly anyone stays back in core engineering. Right? You can't blame them because the money you get, the pay package you get is so small. You get 10 times or 5 times that when you go to finance and analytics and all that, whatever is current. Yes or no? So you can't blame them. And not only that, their parents also have not seen that kind of money in their whole lifetime. So they'll say, you're stupid to settle for this small job. So what do? 90% of our students, do we say, no, that's not our job, we will just continue teaching reinforced concrete design and to hell with them, But they are our children. So the big question to all the faculty, there are only a few faculty here, the question I ask is, how do we add value to students in education? Yes, we must teach them civil engineering, because that's what we are paid to do. But we must give them something that will help them throughout their lives. Do we do that? How do we do that is a big question for all of us. What is missing in our education? Modern education gives us jobs, it does not give us character. Dharma. Classic example, can't conduct an examination. Education gives us knowledge, it does not give us wisdom. And since you wanted something in structural engineering, here's a classic. Do you recognize this building? Anyone? Quiz question. You're all structural engineering students. Yes? Anyone? No. This is old. This is in Bombay. This is the Adarsh Housing Society building. It was meant for Kargil war widows. You don't remember? Okay. It's a good case study. The plans were approved for 6 stories, but they made it 31 stories. What is the purpose of education if you don't have the real muscle of dharma in it? Do you all understand? And do we teach this? No. We teach you how to design earthquake resistant buildings. Big deal. So Theodore Roosevelt said this, a man who has never gone to school may steal from a freight car, a goods wagon, he's hungry, some tiffin box, he'll steal. But if he has a university education from NIRF ranked institutions, he may steal the whole railroad. Well, he's brilliant. Yes or no? Is this the purpose of education? Education gives us a livelihood, it does not teach us how to live. This book was actually written because I remembered a boy who had this problem. But let me move on. Now, do we have the ability to cognize true excellence? Okay. In selection. It could be selecting an MS student, PhD student, faculty. I don't know. It's a question we should all ask. Look at this picture. Basically, there's a reptilian brain inside all of us. We behave like animals. Now, here are 2 old cows, heifer, American, and they see one strange fellow out there. Okay, your MS, PhD, faculty admission candidate. And then, so who's this guy? He looks strange. Okay, so you want to check out. So fearful of survival, I need to identify whether the other animal entering my territory. So animals are all very territorial. Should not enter that territory because they get terrified. So what are the common reactions that you will have? You will first decide whether the guy coming in is a predator or a prey. Then you will also see whether it's a possible mate or a rival. And then you will react. So let's look at that. It happens to all of us. If it's a predator, will it eat me? Okay, eat me for the animal, but for us, entering an organization, okay, will it make me feel insecure? So then I don't want. How will it make you feel insecure? Let's say the guy is brilliant and you are mediocre. These things are very common. So I'm preparing you for, let's say you are good, very good. When you join an organization, there is something called a power equation between everybody, hidden power equation. Okay, you are there, I am there. We are both equal, let's say. We joined at the same time. Then one fine day, I find that the email comes, you are getting the best teacher in the institute award. Doing, the power equation has changed. And I am not getting anything. Then what happens? There are people congratulating you. You'll find that there will be a lot of silence in your own corridor. Then when I see you, I'll just turn like that and go. Suddenly, our relationship has been affected because of some stupid award which you never asked for also. Let's say more and more awards come to you. It has damaged this relationship. This is going to happen. Either way, you will be the one who will turn your face, or you will be the one who will. Either way, you must learn to handle it. You must first have the awareness to see what the hell is going on. Right? Don't you think it's important to discover and transcend all this? How many of us can do that? And if you don't want that person, you will do all kinds of things. You'll say, that grass he's heating, it's not the right kind of grass. Okay? We are all supposed to be herbivores, that means vegetarian. That fellow doubtful. That grass is not appropriate. Anything you can say. Otherwise, it's a prey. Say, if someone is a more mediocre than you, Arey bhai, aaja. Either I can eat you or I'll exercise power over you. That's a wonderful thing to do. Or it's a mate. Can I have offspring with you? Can we grow together? There's a good possibility. So can we do projects together? It's great. Can we do cross-fertilization? Can it help, truly help our organization improve? Or it's a rival, Will it grab my food or my mate? I have got a team, will he take because he's much better than me? He or she. Or is a useless, harmless fellow, okay, theek hai. I don't care what happens. So some of us are like that. We just do our work, we don't bother. So business as usual. If you see Maslow's structure, it was pyramidal. The pyramid has a lot of meaning. It shows the vast majority are at the larger levels at the bottom. And there is security there, safety there, stability there. If you're going near the top, you will have instability unless the lower desires are satisfied and outgrown. So you will find that if you have more mediocre people in an organization, they will perpetuate mediocrity. It's a universal instinct. It's very difficult to, first of all, recognize. A self-actualized person can recognize and might assert also, but it won't. It might work for some time, but your base emotion will take over at some stage and you won't accept it. You want to feel comfortable. Swami Vivekananda said that comfort is no test of truth. On the contrary, truth is often far from being comfortable. So when you are disturbed, you have to pause and see, why are you disturbed? You have to see, is it because of these reasons? If one intends to really find truth, one must not cling to comfort. But it is hard to let go of comfort. This is a real problem because we all have these animal instincts. So really the best option is this. Always, you won't feel threatened. You'll always look for positivity. And even people like Socrates, great masters like Socrates, he said, there's no student who can't learn from me. That's a Socrates method. He'll keep asking questions till you find. Because each of us is good in something or the other. We have to find that out. So this is this book called Leadership and Self-Deception. This is the inside story in most organizations. People who came together to help an organization succeed actually end up delighting in each other's failures and resenting each other's success. Harsh truth. True? Even among students, this is true. Can't tolerate this. Why? Why not? We withhold information and resources from one another, try to control one another and blame one another. When I'm blaming A or B or Department X, Y, Z and suggesting that all our problems will be solved if only they straighten up, I'm doing it because their shortcomings justify my failure to improve. Harsh words. Fantastic book, Leadership and Self-Deception. So what do you have in most organizations? Conflict, backbiting, poor teamwork, troublemaking, bad communication, stress, and a lot of unresolved baggage. And the older you grow in this organization, the worse it becomes. A lack of commitment, engagement, motivation, trust, accountability, alignment. This is the bad side of what I've said till now. Now the question to each one of you, what do you practice? That boy asked the correct question because you are in despair or in fulfillment because we are practicing something. Stephen Covey, he really makes us understand. He did statistical study and he said, let me explain in a language you will understand. If you convert the scores to a soccer team with 11 players, then only 4 out of 11 would know which goal is theirs. You're living so, you don't even know what the purpose of your life is. Just kicking the ball around. Because if you kick it enough, you will get your salary at the end of the month. Only 2 would even care. Only 2 know exactly what they are supposed to do. They're supposed to kick the ball and score a goal. The goal post is on the other side. And all but 2 players, that means 9 out of 11 players would in some way be competing against their own team members rather than the opponent. Nothing to do with India. Throughout the world. There's a lot of truth here, and leadership is to recognize this and somehow go beyond this. So you've all heard of the crab story, the crab in the bucket. A lot of crabs are there in the bucket and one crab wants to get out of the bucket to explore the world. So the other crab won't let it go out. Why? Says, oh no, you don't. You get back down here with the rest of us where you belong. That is mediocrity. So to really find fulfillment in work, all of us here, we need to look for few things and where they all meet. Number 1, you need to find out what you're good at. Where's your talent? I may be talented at many things because all of us came with good performance in school, but we actually love doing few things. Okay? So, what do you love doing? How do you know your passion? How do you know how you love doing something? What's a proof? Simple proof. Your mother will know. Yeah, but what's the proof? The proof is you don't feel time pass. You get absorbed in it. Then your mother has to drag you in, no, go to sleep, enough. You're not doing it because you want to get through JE or whatever. You're doing it because you love doing it. And we all have this. Then there's something more which I emphasize. There is something that you were born to do, a soul calling, an inner calling. What you truly know to be your inner calling. You see, there are all this kind of Venn diagram, they're all converging. There's one more thing that will bring fulfillment. What is that? Whatever you are good at and whatever you love doing and you know to be your inner calling must also serve society, where value needs to be added to society. So there's a need also. This is a small measure of what you need to do in your life. What do you need to practice? Practice finding this and expanding it. Now, the Japanese, I came to know, have another word for this. They call it Ikigai. But instead of the soul, which I have here, they say that's where you make money. They're very practical people. But for me, money will come anyway. So it is this Swadharma is more important. And what is true quality? Most people don't understand what quality means. Doing it right when no one is looking. And what did Mahatma Gandhi say? Mahatma Gandhi says, knowledge gained through experience is far superior and many times more useful than bookish knowledge. This we know, for example, in medicine. Okay, let's say you have a COVID pass doctor. That's the name they give. I mean, you don't know what he studied. You got the degree. He's not examined any patient. Will you trust a doctor who's not examined a patient? Who says, no, the liver should be there, and if it's enlarged, let's do a blood test and see. No, the olden days, the physician actually feels your body, right? You can trust only when you do that. What about education, engineering education? If the person who's teaching you structural design has never designed a single structure in his whole life, what credibility do we have? Yes or no? But then you become an authority because you become a professor, and then you will be proof checking designs. It doesn't make any sense. So my strong recommendation to all of you is at least spend a few years in the field and know what you're doing. Then you become self-actualized. Otherwise you're a theoretician. Now here we look for people who do experimental work. Doing experimental work is different from actually seeing the soil, seeing the building, seeing concrete, seeing failures. All that is needed, but somehow in our system we don't have it. It's very important. So experience of the right kind is very important. So the topic is, let us practice true excellence. Maslow said there are certain qualities. This is my last lecture. Okay, I'm retiring and I'm not going to give any more talks. My time has come. You are the future of this country and the world. I want you to be self-actualized. The first quality of a self-actualized person is an unusual perception of reality. This is Maslow's own words. What does this mean? These guys can see something that ordinary people cannot see. And you say, on what basis? What are the metrics? They'll say it's just a judgment. And it's a judgment which has never failed them, because throughout their life they've been looking at this. So you can see truth which cannot be normally seen. Unusual perception of reality. And they accept mediocrity also, because they know the pyramid is like that. It is nature's scheme. So you don't talk ill about people who are not up to the mark. Their time has not come, not in this lifetime. It's okay. And you will find they are very spontaneous. Okay, they are not calculating what they say. At the same time, they will keep quiet unless they are required to speak. They are highly creative. There is definite originality in them which you can't see in most other people. They are problem-centered, not ego-centered. So usually whenever there's a agitation, you can find that there's a strong personal element. They know that it's going to cover the truth. So they try to filter that part and see what's the real problem. How can it be solved? Very rare gift. They are resistant to culture. They don't get brainwashed. See, most of us, even, we side with some party, some political party, some race, some ideology. These guys don't believe all that. Say all jokers are non-self-actualized, non-self-realized. Because the truth is one. Everybody's got a truth. The communist has a truth, the capitalist has a truth, the atheist has a truth, the believer has a truth. But there is one overarching truth beyond all. They are interested in that. So they don't play the game of being to extreme right or extreme left or even the middle. They are the whole. They don't take sides of any party. Very rare to find such people. And they know that thinking from so-called materialistic point of view will give you a very limited wrong picture of reality. You have to see the whole. Ordinary people, mediocre people can't tolerate solitude. You'll feel lonely. But self-actualized people love solitude because they are never alone there. They are one with the whole universe. Creativity comes in solitude. They always see things new. You know, the deer which visit every day in the morning, everything is fresh. Their eyes are fresh. There's an innocence in them. There's a beauty in them. Children also see this newness every time. And they frequently get peak experiences. They feel high and blissful. They have a sense of kinship to all. They don't look at hierarchy, caste, creed, religion and all that. They see everybody as one. And they have humility and respect for all. So I've written here, let me give you an example from structural engineering. What is leadership when it's self-actualized? There's a story reported in one of these books. Let's say in an organization of structural engineers, at the middle level, there was a lady who was in charge of a project. And beneath her, there were some 12 engineers working. And it was an important project, and she wanted to check at every stage if they did the design correctly, and she allotted responsibilities. Somebody went to court saying this building is unsafe structurally. But she was confident, and the bosses asked her, and they trusted her. She said, I'm pretty confident we did the right thing. They won the case at the middle level. It went to the higher court. And the charges were quite high. You will lose a lot of money. Then the day before the verdict was going to be applied, or the last arguments were done, she called everybody and made everybody check once again. Each guy who had a job to do. Your role is to check the latest design code, every clause, and to see whether we have violated any clause. And this guy, struggling over it, noticed that there was a recent revision in the code. In the glazing, in the cladding, they had become more strict, and so possibly they were violating in the cladding design, not the main structure. But cladding is also important. He goes and tells the lady, look, this has happened. You had asked me to check then also, but I missed it. She said, come, let me check the calculations. So they sit together and check. Then she knows if the opposition finds out this point, they are finished. That's enough. If they get a good lawyer, they can blow it out of scale. Then she goes straight to the CEO of the company. And her whole troop of 12 engineers follow her. She said, you wait out, I'll speak to you. He goes in and the boss is very keen to know. He says, I hope everything is fine for tomorrow. She said, no, everything is not fine. And she says, I have made a mistake. There was a small error. I don't know if they are going to find this error. If they find this error, they might win the case. So the boss blows up. He said, what do you mean? We're going to lose all our money, this blah, blah, blah. She took all that. She was due for a promotion. She took all that. And then when she came out, this guy says, why didn't you tell him the truth? It was not your fault. You had asked me to do it and I missed out. And she said, no, anybody can make a mistake. I am the one who is in charge of the project. It's my responsibility. Now, how many of us can have that kind of leadership? And do you think she'll be dismissed from a company like that? Because finding people like that is very rare. Will you ever stop working for a boss like that? But that is leadership. That is self-actualization. How many people can live like that? So they have their own code of ethics and values. Again, I'm showing a picture here. Let's say you are a sculptor. And this is again a true story. Somebody had ordered a sculpture of a goddess, wooden. Now this guy won't give it till he's totally satisfied with it. But he was taking ages and this house was already built. So the owner came and said, "Can't you give it to me? Isn't it okay?" He said, "No, I'm not happy. There's something." He said, "Nobody will know it. Just give it and we will be happy with it. We'll pay you whatever amount. Nobody will know it." Then he replies, "But I will know it." How many of us can do projects like that, have that kind of sense of value? And they don't mind people making fun of themselves. They make fun of themselves, philosophical sense. And they are able to tolerate two extreme viewpoints without any difficulty. Because they know the truth is in both sides. Now, a self-actualized person will find it very difficult to explain this to a mediocre person. It's like the story of the frog in the well, you know that. You're in a well and you think the whole world is like this. Another frog jumps in and says, "There's a big wide world out there, there are clouds, there's sky, there's an ocean." He said, "What rubbish are you saying? This is the world." Okay, I think you're... So there's an importance of exposure to self-actualized individuals. Only when you're exposed to them, you'll know what self-actualization is. In my own life, I have met many. I'll just show you a few. I lived in IIT 1975 to 1980. Here are some pictures of my batchmates. They were awarded the Distinguished Alumnus Award. Okay, just a few of them. Ram Sriram is a structural engineer. Okay, he was in the opposite wing in Jamuna Hostel. Very close friend. He is now Chief Executive Officer of the Computer Science Health Related Department of NIST. That's their, like Bureau of Indian Standards, that's their standard organization. He's won umpteen awards. Okay, he's shifted from structural engineering to computer science to health to medicine to so many dimensions. So you'll find self-actualized people actually are not sticking to one project alone. They work across multiple disciplines. So are all the others. Bob Balram, who came to IIT recently, he is a genius. He was in Ganga Hostel opposite us, mechanical engineer. He again took computer science. And then he took to kind of robotics and smart materials. He joined NASA. He was the chief engineer who built the Ingenuity helicopter, which is still running in the planet Mars. Now, he had stuff. So you don't say, no, this is the area, these are your credentials, we can't take you, because you have to recognize stuff. So likewise, you have so many others, I won't mention their name. But this person you will all recognize. He was also my batchmate in my wing. Bhaskar Ramurthy, the former director of IIT Madras for 2 terms. Here is my mentor, Salim Moledina. Some of you may have met him because he's living in Canada. He was my boss 5 years in Delhi. He's one of the greatest structural engineers I've seen. Okay. Just by sheer feel of structures, structural sense, hand calculations. Both of us did part-time MTech at IIT Delhi. Absolute genius. Okay. You know how he works. So you have to work with such people to know what structural engineering is, not just reading books and so on. So all of us must find these masters and somehow get to know them. So He is, by the way, Ashok Jhunjhunwala's batchmate, 5 years my senior, IIT Kanpur. Then these are two self-actualized people. Those of you who've taken my courses on self-awareness and integral karma yoga and Sage, they are my partners. They are into post-self-actualization also, into life. So, very important to rub shoulders with these people, then only you'll know. Then among the faculty in IIT Madras, here, our own, whoever taught me, take Professor P.C. Varghese. He's written books on reinforced concrete design, all kinds of topics. He was actually the person who founded our structural engineering lab and civil engineering department. He's worked in multiple areas, geotechnical engineering, surveying, building technology. He's written books on these areas. He's not taught me, but I've had a lot of interactions with him. He used to love to talk. On the phone, we'll speak for 1 hour. And he will talk on many topics, including meditation. He spent many years in Sri Lanka. He was very fond of the mindfulness meditation that they had. So such a wide-ranging interests are possible. Professor P.H. Rao, the stress strain curve in the code that you have today is based on some of his work. Professor P.K. Arvindan, who's no more, but who set up his own practice after retirement, but they are all practicing engineers. You should understand that. They don't talk theory. They don't go by computers. They go by structural feel, by intuition, validated by computers. So these are some examples. Professor C.S.K., I don't know if you know, he passed away in an unfortunate accident. He taught us finite element analysis. Great person. Professor V. Kalyan Raman. Then I worked for a few years at NIT Calicut. Those days it was called Regional Engineering College Calicut. I met masters who were as good, if not much better than IIT professors. One of the greatest intellectuals I've met is Professor S. Unnikrishna Pillai. We wrote that book together. He was the first author. 4th edition, 25 years old. I did a MSc engineering project in University of Calicut. I did all funny things here. We built a house made of coconut shells. Coconuts are freely available in Kerala, and the shell is strong. So this won several awards. Then here's a person I really worship a lot, Professor KBM Namboodiripad. If you see all these books, he's written the preface to it. He has a deep interest in Indian spiritual wisdom, but he is more famous and feared for his knowledge in mechanics. Okay, he is a mechanical engineer, but he did his PhD in the Department of Civil Engineering. He knows mechanics inside out, knows mathematics inside out. So you have to rub shoulders, 13 years. We used to have lunch together. We don't gossip, we discuss mechanics and life. You need that kind of environment to really know what self-actualization is. It'll rub into you. One more name I want to show. Professor M.P. Chandrasekharan. He is a mechanical engineer, production engineer who did PhD here in the humanities department. And we did phenomenal work. Once the Calicut Medical College called me to give a talk on strength of materials to see if they can understand about bones. So I predicted bones are brittle, it will break this way, and basically taught strength of materials to them. They were very happy. There was a professor, Dr. N.J. Mani, orthopedician. He said, can you help us with some designs? So we developed this external wrist fixator, for which there's a patent also. If you fall from a motorcycle or from a tree and injure your wrist, you'll find that it will splinter into many parts. That's called a compound fracture. It'll heal naturally, but you'll lose the mobility in the hand. So if you just put a plaster, it'll become stiff and you lose the mobility. So the Swiss doctors had found a fixator, used to cost 1.5 lakh rupees those days, where you arrest this, you put some needles inside this stainless steel, and then you have a fixture which will enable the movements in all three directions. We said we'll make something simple just by simple mechanics, and we reduced it to 3 movements. So you fix this and the patient will unscrew one and move the hand like this, then lock it again, unscrew another part, move the hand like this, lock it again, unscrew a third part and move the hand like this. And then when the new bone is forming, this flexibility is also built in, and so they get 90% recovery of the full mobility. So that's, and this device costs only 10,000 rupees. So a structural engineer can do all this? Yes, you can. But interacting with mechanical engineers, metallurgists, and so there's so much that can be done. The world needs so much. Here is Sonam Wangchuk. You know, the Three Idiots movie, the character of Amir Khan was made, model after him. I didn't know him at all. He wrote saying he wants to visit. We had done some work on the GFRG building. He said, I'm interested, I want to. He spent 3 days in IIT. Then people told me, look, he's a great guy, you know. Actually, he's one of the greatest self-actualized people I've ever met. I was totally impressed by him. Then he gave a talk in the ICSR building. I'm showing a small clipping of that to give you a feel of what self-actualization is.
I've never let my schooling interfere with my education. So said Mark Twain. How about you? Do you miss your school or college days? You perhaps do, but perhaps not for the classrooms and teachings. You actually perhaps wished every day that the school be closed the next day so you could stay home. But here's a school in Ladakh where the most dreaded punishment is to be sent home for 2 weeks, where students learn by doing things, where they engage in various innovations to solve real-life problems like climate change, where they run the school themselves like a little country with an elected government and learn management and governance that way, where they learn communication by running the campus newspaper and radio, science by designing and building their own school, solar-heated mud buildings that stay at plus 15 even when minus 15 winters. Kindness and compassion through introspection and meditation. A school where the criteria of admission is not your percentage, but that the conventional system has failed you. Hi, I'm Sonam Wangchuk from Ladakh, a remote mountain region in the Indian Himalayas. 25 years ago, when I was finishing my own engineering education, I saw that schools were a pain for everyone, but for mountain children, it was doubly painful and irrelevant. Children who spoke Ladakhi or Tibetan at home were made to sit all day memorizing in alien languages like Urdu or English. F for fan, S for ship, T for train. Till recently, every year, 95% of the students used to fail in the all-important 10th grade exams. Together with like-minded friends, we launched SECMOL, the Students' Educational and Cultural Movement of Ladakh, and said enough is enough. Working with the government, we rewrote many textbooks, retrained the teachers, and organized the villagers. And the results started changing too. For those who still failed, we started the alternative school that you just saw. And the results? Tewang Rigzin went on to become a top journalist and later became the education minister of Ladakh Hill Council at 27. He had failed his 10th grade 5 times. Stanzin became a filmmaker and has been winning awards across countries. He had failed 4 times. Miss Tinless is today a celebrated social entrepreneur. She had failed 3 times.
I have more stories to tell you, but here I want to show you that there is nothing called failure. Everybody's got something that needs to be self-actualized. Our job as teachers is to help you find that out and to enable this to happen in all of you. This is a Christian serenity prayer. There's so much change that we need to do in the world, but we don't know if we can do it. We get disappointed. So it's good to have this wisdom. What is this? May I have the serenity to accept that which cannot be changed. Some things cannot be changed. But don't get depressed. That's not your job. That's happening on its own. May I have the courage to change that which can be changed. And what do you think the third verse is? And may I have the wisdom to know the difference. So don't spend your energy on things, on people who are not going to change. Work with people who will change and can change and inspire them. And know which is which. To know that, you need to have that deeper understanding. And so the last slide is, we interact with so many people. Each person is unique. You can't treat them all like a factory, producing matchboxes and all that. Each one is a unique seed. One may grow into a fantastic banyan tree. Another may grow into a jackfruit tree, lemon tree. So you can't treat everybody. The fulfillment comes when you really blossom to what you are meant to blossom to. So that's why forcing everybody to become a doctor or an engineer is madness. Find out what people are good at. So what's the difference between a teacher and a guru? This is a talk I gave many years ago on Teachers' Day. I thought this slide I'll show you. The ordinary teacher serves as a means for your livelihood. You need the degree. The guru helps you find and fulfill your life purpose. The teacher helps you develop your mental intelligence. The guru helps you awaken and develop your entire being, not just the cognitive part. The teacher puts you on the road to material success. The guru puts you on the road to self-actualization and, if you're lucky, self-realization. The teacher helps the world in its outer development. The guru points to the inner as the basis for all fulfillment. So the outer will also come, but basically deep inside. And this is very difficult for most people to understand. This is in the Bhagavad Gita. There's a line which says, Ahankara vimudhatma karta ham iti manyate. Don't let your success get into your head. That's the danger of self-actualization. Okay, you might stop there. Self-realization shows you that you are nobody. It's all one power, divine power, which is doing everything. So, ahankara is your ego. Vimudhatma is the deluded one. So, the deluded self-ego imagines, I am the doer. Karta aham iti manyate. That's a big delusion. And in fact, 99.9% of humanity suffer from this avidya. So you need a guru to take you beyond, and so you have to be lucky. In my case, many years back, I spent some time in the Himalayas. I came across this person in Rishikesh. Each one of us has to find our own teacher and then continue living our way. But let's say your goal is very clear. Self-actualization, self-realization. What should you practice every day? Only that. Okay. Thank you. You suddenly realize that life can be really beautiful. And it is. But we must have the eyes to see it. You need inspiration every day, and life is beautiful. You will face challenges, no question about it. But the challenges are your teachers. Any questions? Yes, you wanted adventure. Don't you think adventure is there in life? Will someone give it to you or you will find it yourself? You have to find it. You will find it. You wanted purpose. Who was that? You. One of you. He's left. He's found his purpose. Shivapurnan. In people like Shivapurnan, I feel a lot of promise. Because he's unlike most students. Learn to rub shoulders with him. You'll get some idea of what self-actualization can be. But then you need maturity. And life will teach us. You need one or two people in a class like this to really inspire you. But then the rest are also our children. So our love and gratitude to all of you. We don't see mediocrity in who you truly are. We are all one. It's in the manifestation, that's all. No questions? Sir, you have any question? Yeah.
Like sometimes I feel dull nature, something I want to do, but anyhow I am not doing.
No, so you are right. We all feel this. We feel there is some greatness that has to be expressed, but somehow we are missing it, right? So you search for it, there are many ways, but the Serenity Prayer can help. See, take someone like the Buddha. Buddha actually did not believe in any God, but he believed in truth. He had one deep question, not a personal question, universal question. Why are we suffering? Dukkha, why is it there? Then he had this faith. He says, this is a genuine question. It has come from somewhere. But if I stay with that question, stay with it, it will reveal its answer to me. And so it did. So this question has come from within you. The answer will also come to you, but you have to stay with it. You have to be genuine. Inshallah, it will happen. But you have to be where to start. No, it looks like a long distance to Mount Everest, right? So many kilometers. Every journey begins with one step. Start with this wish. Everything begins with a wish, an aspiration. We don't have the powers of concentration. What we practice is distraction. We don't stay with it. You ask this question now. Do you ask this question every day? Do you practice asking this question like the Buddha did? What is the way? What is the way? If you ask like Buddha did, don't you think the way will reveal itself? That's how it happened to me. If you go back to my story, which I don't want to, when I faced this ethical issue in Delhi, when the clients wanted bribes, I knew something was wrong. I asked this question, what's the purpose of my life? And I found nobody knew the answer. I said, I will find the answer. That's when I traveled to the Himalayas and spent a few years there. But you don't need to do that. Stay with. So you have to persevere and don't believe what other people say. Respect them. But the asliyat is in you. The truth is in you. Does it make sense?
There are many levels in the hierarchy of needs. Is it possible, like, for somebody not to experience or satisfy the lower level of needs and still achieve the self?
Very rarely it is possible, but then they say some previous lifetime they would have done it. Normally not. I'll tell you a true story. Swami Vivekananda, when he came to Chennai, he used to stay in a place where we helped restore. It's called the Ice House, near the Marina Beach. And he used to give talks. So one young man came and went to him and said, Swamiji, your talks are so impressive. I want to join your order. I want to become self-realized. But Vivekananda was very practical. He looked at him, talked to him for some time. Then he found this guy had done badly in his studies. He did not get a job. He was actually a failure in many things. So he told him kindly, see, spiritual life is not so easy. Only those who excel in their normal life will be able to succeed in spiritual life. So you want to give up, you want to renounce. He said, what do you have to renounce? Your body is frail. You have not succeeded in your life. You have not got a job. I'm not finding fault with you. Your parents are looking up to you for support. A Buddha had a kingdom to renounce. So, make your body strong. Get a good job. Don't worry about your studies. Succeed there. Then you come to me. Does it make sense? Otherwise, it's dangerous. Otherwise, we have a lot of stories of so-called godmen who end up with all kinds of perversions. No. Do it the right royal way. A mango fruit should not be plucked when it's raw. When it's ripe, it will fall on its own. Near my house, in front, there's a beautiful badam tree. Big one. Every day I see, the leaves are so beautiful. Now it's fall. So they change color. They become bright red, orange. And then they fall. You should see how they fall, like nicely. Look at this aesthetics in the nature's movement of falling. All of them fall. When I go to the terrace, I see everything is barren. It looks a little depressing because everything is gone. But then you see small shoots are coming out everywhere. Young babies are going to be born. Fresh life. So that's how all of us are. Our time will come, this body will go. But then world will go on and evolution will take place. And life is beautiful. Nothing to regret. Oh, now a lot of questions are there. Good.
Sir, when you have conflict between your moral and ethics, how to choose?
These are difficult questions, Dharma sankatam, we say. Choices are difficult. They are meant to be difficult, genuine choices. The whole of the Bhagavad Gita begins with this conflict. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. And 700 verses of the Gita are spent in helping understand that there are no easy answers. The final answer given is shocking for most of us. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. So finally you have to go to the deepest source. But if you have the ability to contact that source, you will get the answer. Yeah, but that's the whole purpose of life. You should aim high. Otherwise you will take some ready-made answer which will not address you. Then you're confident and then you fight. But you may need clarity. It's a good question, but it's a very deep question. Only you know the answer. There's no general answer for everybody.
So what were your greatest learning from Himalaya?
The greatest learning was this. All that I had learned till then had its application and value, but it didn't address the fundamental issues in life. So that's when I realized, did you open this one book? So I was like this boy called Shvetakit. By the way, if you are interested, you can get this. We've just got some copies. The banyan tree. This picture is from IIT. Okay. So this dialogue. See, all the Upanishads are dialogues between the master and the student. The student asks this question deeply. He says, something is missing in my life. And it's not an ordinary student. A student who's already excelled. Like Arjuna is already self-actualized. He says, something is missing. I have seen people who are following dharma but they are unhappy. Then the teacher says, I'm waiting for a student to come to me to ask this question, because this cannot be and should not be told to someone who is really not serious about this. So you'll find a series of books are going to be written. 2 of them have already come. One is called The Awakening of Nachiketa. I'm trying to bring alive in a modern language. This is a boy called Shvetaketu, 24 years old after 12 years of studying in an IIT, those days IIT, in a Gurukulam. And he's totally woken up. Now the rishis were householders. They had families. But they knew what's the right thing to do. They knew how to answer this question. And they lived ordinary lives. So to me, my role models are the rishis. And so my post-retirement will be in their company, and there'll be about many more books of this kind. I'm kind of done with reinforced concrete design and structural mechanics and all that. Maybe some revisions will come. See, you should not abandon your profession. But you need not, a stage in life comes when you don't need a livelihood. Most people take up a livelihood post-retirement for 2-3 reasons. One is they dread first the loss of importance. Here you strut around like a peacock, everybody says yes sir, 3 bags full. But there nobody will recognize you. So you can't handle that. Secondly, you were occupied. Even if you were doing mediocre work or creatively, you had some. There you don't know, because you've not found your swadharma, you feel a vacuum and you might become senile. But if you have creative activity which is waiting to come, you will be totally fulfilled. So most people take up the same job, start teaching or become principal. To me, all that is purvashram, doesn't make sense. And now the people I want to deal with are those people who will ask this question: what is beyond self-actualization? But self-actualization is very, very important for young people. You must first master, develop, learn your subjects well, enjoy, become great structural engineers if that's what you want to do. Become great teachers. I'm telling you, so many in my batch could do it. Surely some of you can do it. But you cannot skip a jump. Okay, you have to succeed, and within you, you should know life is great, no complaints, thoroughly enjoyed everything, every day of life was beautiful, and it will continue to be beautiful. If you can't find joy and beauty today, you will never find it. It's a very simple rule. If you can't find it today, you will never find it. So find it today. That's it? Okay.
Sometimes we have to take some decisions for our own, and we have some convictions that we must do it, and somehow we can feel that we are driven in that way, but it's very difficult to actually convince our family members, because maybe they are driven with the societal needs. So to align with them, sometimes convincing them is very difficult. So how to actually talk to them in that sense?
Then it's time to show you John last video. It's a great balancing act you have to do. Self-actualized people know how to do the balancing act. So after this, no more questions, okay? How to do that, just watch this. This is also a lesson in structural engineering. Okay, so this is the answer to your question, and then we'll stop.
Mi cuerpo del viento. En mil ojos encuentro la eternidad nadando. En el mar infinito. En un equilibrio de antiguas formas. Sus benditas en el tiempo. Y un solo cuerpo parado como un árbol. Con las raíces en la tierra y sus ramas altas en el cielo.
out of this and at least got some clues how to solve your equation of life. Thank you so much, Professor.